You open a message, type a reply, delete it, type again. Then close the app without sending anything. A minute later, you open it again, just to check. And somehow, this tiny moment feels heavier than it should. Have you ever noticed that? How something so small can quietly drain so much of your energy without you even realizing it. Because what looks like just overthinking isn't really about the message or the choice or the moment. Something deeper is happening. You might not notice this, but your mind isn't trying to choose the right thing. It's trying to avoid choosing the wrong one. There's a difference. When you're staring at two options, two replies, two paths, your brain isn't asking, "What do I want?" It's asking, "What if I regret this later?" And suddenly, it's not a simple decision anymore. It becomes a quiet prediction of the future, one where you imagine yourself disappointed, embarrassed, or stuck. Research suggests that the brain experiences potential loss more intensely than potential gain. So even when one option feels slightly better, the fear of what you might lose quietly outweighs it. And that's why you pause. Not because you don't know, but because knowing feels risky. And then something else happens. You start looking for certainty. You reread the same menu, the same product page, the same text message, as if the answer might suddenly appear if you just look long enough. But have you noticed? The more you look, the less clear it becomes. Because your brain is not designed to find perfect answers in uncertain situations. It's designed to keep scanning, just in case there's something you missed. What's actually happening here is a loop. The moment you delay a decision, your brain assumes there must be something important here. So it increases attention, which makes the decision feel even bigger, which makes you delay even more. And suddenly, a simple choice feels like something that defines you. But here's where it gets even more subtle. Sometimes, you already know what you want. You just don't trust it. Have you ever felt that quiet pull toward one option, but ignored it because it didn't feel logical enough? Your mind often splits into two voices, one that feels, and one that explains. And over time, you learn to trust the voice that explains, even when it's not actually clearer, because it sounds more convincing. But what's interesting is, your intuitive decisions are often faster not because they're careless, but because they're based on patterns your brain has already learned. Patterns you can't fully explain, but still recognize. So when you override that, you don't become more accurate. You just become more uncertain. And then comes the part you rarely notice. After you finally make a decision, you don't move on. You replay it. You think about what you could have said, what you should have chosen, what might have been better. Almost like your mind is trying to go back and correct something, but it can't. So instead, it keeps you in that moment longer than necessary. Psychologically, this is your brain trying to reduce uncertainty after the fact. But instead of creating clarity, it creates doubt. Because now you're comparing reality with imagined alternatives that don't even exist. And those imagined versions always feel slightly better. So slowly, without you realizing it, you start trusting your decisions less. You hesitate more. You analyze longer. And life doesn't feel like something you're moving through anymore. It feels like something you're constantly trying to get right, one small choice at a time. But maybe this isn't because your mind is broken. Maybe it's because your mind is trying to protect something. Your attention, your identity, your sense of control. Indecision isn't always confusion. Sometimes it's sensitivity. It means you're aware of consequences, of possibilities, of how things could unfold. And that awareness can feel heavy. Because when you see more, every choice feels like it matters more. But here's the quiet shift. What if choosing the wrong thing isn't actually the problem? What if the real weight comes from believing that every choice has to be perfect? Because it doesn't. Most decisions don't define your life. They just move it. And movement creates clarity in a way thinking never can. So the next time you catch yourself hovering, hesitating, reopening the same choice again, don't rush. Just notice. Notice the moment your mind starts predicting regret. Notice when you start searching for certainty that isn't there. Notice how much pressure you're quietly adding to something small. And just sit with that awareness for a second longer than usual. Because sometimes, that's where the real decision begins. Not in choosing the right thing, but in understanding why it ever felt so hard to choose at all.